I was the third ancestor, purple-robed celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain. After I died, a Taoist black talisman sealed me inside my own coffin, and 81 soul-binding nails surrounded me on every side. My descendants even drained my pure yang essence and blood, using it to light lamps and forge talismans. All because, 1800 years ago, I, then the third ancestor celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain, sought to follow founding master Zhang Daling and ascend to immortality, breaking through to a higher realm. But I died during my heavenly tribulation. After my Tao faded, my descendants feared my body would turn into a corpse monster, so they set this trap to seal me away. Just as I awaken in despair, reborn as a corpse, a chime suddenly rings in my ears. Congratulations, player. Soul fusion complete. Reanimation successful. The dual cultivation system has been successfully bound. Newcomer bonus activated. 10% of your previous cultivation restored. 10% of your previous thunder art mastery restored. The instant the chime fades, my cultivation surges back at incredible speed, and my body slowly regains the ability to move. But before I can fully adjust to this body, the tomb's stone door explodes open with a deafening crash. The intruders are a group of tomb robbers. The one leading them, calling himself a feng shui master, spots my coffin and instantly grows ecstatic. This wood has a purple gold sheen. Could this be the legendary golden Phoebe wood? We're about to strike it rich. Master, what does this inscription on the stele say? Could this be an imperial tomb? Doyle glances at the words carved on the stele, and his brow furrows instantly. Something's not right. This is the tomb of Dragon Tiger Mountain's third ancestor celestial master, Auric's own resting place. Doyle instantly breaks into a cold sweat. The stele bears a Dragon Tiger spirit-sealing talisman. Damn, we broke into an ancestor's tomb of Dragon Tiger Mountain. This is no ordinary grave. There's far more to this than we thought. Maybe we should just retreat. Dragon Tiger Mountain isn't far from here. If those Taoists find out we disturbed their ancestor's grave, we won't keep our lives. Doyle had assumed this was an imperial mausoleum, but it turns out to be a celestial master's tomb. But the tomb robbers couldn't care less. They already make their living on the edge of a blade, so naturally, none of this scares them. Even if the Heavenly King himself showed up today, we're still digging this tomb. The men pull out crescent blade shovels made for prying coffins open, and start prying the nails out of the coffin. As they work, they grumble, "Why does this coffin have so many nails? Just these nails alone must weigh several pounds." And every single nail is carved with a Taoist soul-binding incantation. Once the last nail is pulled free, Brock waves his hand, signaling them to open the lid. The men gather around the coffin and get to work, but the lid seems fused in place, not budging an inch. Drenched in sweat, they still can't pry it open. Brock shouts, "Everyone step back. If the lid won't open, we'll just hack it apart. This is golden Phoebe wood. And it's carved with patterns too. It'd be such a waste to just chop it up." "Quit talking. No matter how valuable it is, we can't haul the whole coffin out. What we want is what's inside." Doyle backs away to a safe distance, watching Brock steady himself, trembling nonstop. "This is an ancient celestial master's tomb. It holds the grandson of Zhang Daling himself. You actually dare to hack it open?" Deep down, he already regrets coming on this trip. But it's too late now. All he can do is grit his teeth and watch as Brock raises his axe, swinging it down hard onto the golden Phoebe wood lid. The instant the axe falls, the system chime rings in my ears again. Tomb robbers detected attempting to breach the coffin. Side quest triggered, kill all tomb robbers. Reward unlocked, the Undying Corpse Immortal art and the Five Thunders Divine art. By now I've regained control over most of my body. Slowly, I open my eyes. At that very moment, thunder clouds gather thick above the coffin, a wall of black clouds blotting out the sky entirely. A bolt of lightning crashes down, striking straight into the tomb, splitting the coffin lid clean in two. Brock, mid-swing for a second strike, is hurled backward by the lightning shockwave. Seeing their leader thrown across the room, the other robbers scream in terror, covering their heads and dropping to the ground. Where did that thunder come from? Meanwhile, dozens of kilometers away at the Celestial Master's estate on Dragon Tiger Mountain, Cassian, the 77th generation Celestial Master, deep in seclusion, suddenly snaps his eyes open. He's heard the crack of thunder rolling in from afar. In the hall enshrining the Ancestor's spirit tablets, every tablet shakes violently at once, especially Ancestor Auric's own tablet, which splits clean in half right then and there. Cassian's face changes instantly. He quickly performs a divination, his gaze piercing through the estate's halls toward the direction that sky-splitting purple lightning struck. This is bad. Something's happened at the third Ancestor's tomb. He rises at once, and summons every disciple on the mountain, everyone ranked green robe or above. "Come with me down the mountain now. Someone has disturbed the third Ancestor's tomb. He's the first to charge down the mountain path, fury burning inside him. Who on earth has the nerve to touch the tomb of a Dragon Tiger Mountain ancestor?" In moments, all of Dragon Tiger Mountain blazes with torchlight. Dozens of yellow robe and red robe Taoists move with Dragon Tiger footwork, covering the mountain trails in a handful of strides, racing straight toward where the lightning struck. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a streamer named Mia, who wandered into the graveyard by accident, watches with her own eyes as a bolt of lightning thick as a tree trunk crashes down, blowing the entire tomb wide open. She's already scared out of her wits. Without thinking, she grabs her phone and calls the police. The sky immediately opens into a torrential downpour. Her livestream chat completely explodes. Well, today's really an eye-opener. Lightning striking a grave? This can't be a sign of reanimation, can it? Even the sky itself is reacting. Just who is buried in there? Before long, the police officers who respond to the call turn pale too. They've seen that sky-shaking lightning bolt with their own eyes, utterly baffled by it. Captain Reyes frowns and asks the streamer, "Are you sure the tomb robbers are down in that hole?" Mia nods rapidly, like a woodpecker. I watched them climb down myself. Counting the minutes, it's already been 20 minutes. The police trace the robbers' tunnel to the entrance, and are about to send someone down to investigate and make arrests. Suddenly, several figures in purple, yellow, and red robes sweep into the scene from the tree line like ghosts. The officers startle, instinctively reaching for their guns. "Who's there?" The elder in purple leading the group cups his hands in greeting. This humble Taoist is Cassian, current celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain. At those words, the officers and Mia are stunned. The celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain? Is this for real? Why would he show up here? Amid the thunder and lightning, Cassian's purple robe, lit by the flashes, radiates commanding authority, sending a chill down everyone's spine. By now, viewers on Mia's TigerStream channel have surged past 3 million. Whoa, even the celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain showed up? Did they actually dig up an ancestor's tomb? Otherwise, they wouldn't come in person. This is insane. The police turn to question the Taoists. "May I ask why you've come here?" Cassian answers, "This is the burial site of our third ancestor, Celestial Master. It's a sacred grave of our order. The 5 thunders falling from the sky are a sign of the ancestor's wrath." At those words, the officers can't help but suck in a sharp breath. The livestream chat floods with, "On fire, oh my god." They actually dug up the third ancestor's tomb of Dragon Tiger Mountain, and a real Celestial Master just confirmed it himself. Meanwhile, deep inside the tomb, Brock, the tomb robber leader, has been thrown several meters by the lightning. His whole body is scorched black, as if he'd been set on fire. His eyes are bloodshot, and blood sprays from his mouth. His entire body feels numb, as if every ounce of strength has been drained out of him. Even hanging on by a thread, he still cares more about the treasure than his own life. Gritting his teeth, he claws himself up off the ground, and staggers back to the coffin supported by his men. With the coffin lid shattered, what's inside is now fully exposed. The moment they see the body inside, they all freeze in place, too frightened to move. They quickly call Doyle over. "Take a look at what this corpse is wearing. Isn't he supposed to be a celestial master? Why is he in a dragon robe? This is way too strange." Doyle steps closer to look, and his legs instantly go weak with fear. The corpse's face has already turned into that of a Jiangshi, its expression utterly horrifying. A rare black talisman is stuck to its forehead. You should know, the black talisman is the highest grade corpse sealing talisman in all of Taoism. What shocks the robbers even more is that the corpse wears a black robe embroidered with a 4-clawed dragon, layered over a purple Taoist ceremonial robe underneath. Doyle's teeth chatter non-stop. "Stop looking at it. We need to pull back and leave right now. That's not an ordinary garment. It's a 4-clawed Mang dragon robe. In the old days, only a crown prince's tutor was allowed to wear one. It has 1 less claw than the imperial yellow robe, but the rank it represents is on par with the emperor himself." The longer Doyle looks, the more wrong it feels. He desperately urges the others to retreat. "We can't touch this tomb any further. If even the smallest thing goes wrong, we're all finished." But the moment Brock hears this, he only gets more excited. "Whoa, an imperial tutor's tomb? We're about to be rich." Brock scans the inside of the coffin and spots 3 objects laid beside the body: an ancient sword, a jade seal, and an ornately bound register of strange design. His eyes light up, and he reaches out excitedly. "I knew there'd be good stuff in here." Brock picks up the long sword first and gives it a gentle pull. A clear ringing sound echoes from the scabbard, and the blade shows not a trace of rust. One of his men notices words engraved on the blade, and gets even more thrilled. "You should know, an ancient sword bearing an inscription is worth 10, even 100 times more than an ordinary antique." Brock immediately hands the sword to Doyle to inspect. Doyle takes one look at it, his voice trembling. "By the Supreme Lord Lao, Sanwu Jiangxi, this is Dragon Tiger Mountain's Sword of Exorcism, the Celestial Master's own sword." And on the bottom of that jade seal is carved "Seal of the Governing Rights of Yangping." Isn't that the legendary seal of authority? As for that register, Doyle no longer dares to even open it. With both the sword and seal present, the remaining book is very likely the Covenant Registry. It holds the true names of the heavenly gods within and can command every ghost and spirit under heaven. It can seal demons and subdue devils. There's nothing it can't do. If an outsider flips through it carelessly, they could cough up blood and drop dead on the spot. But the robbers couldn't care less about any of that. All they know is that today, they're striking it rich. With these 3 treasures, they won't have to worry about money for the rest of their lives. Brock stashes away the sword, seal, and register, but he still isn't satisfied. He reaches out toward the corpse again. Seeing this, Doyle's face changes instantly. "Are you out of your mind? We got the treasures, so let's go. Don't touch that body." Brock scoffs dismissively. Mind your own business. Since we're already here, we might as well take everything we can. That dragon robe and the purple one underneath are worth a fortune too. With that, he starts ripping at the clothes on the corpse, calling his men over to help. Watching this, Doyle's skin crawls all over. A sense of dread washes over him. Something terrible is about to happen. He spins around abruptly, ready to flee the tomb. These men have truly lost their minds. They've already taken the Celestial Master's sword and seal, and now they dare touch the dragon robe on the body too? Don't they fear it'll reanimate? The grandson of a true Immortal, a third ancestor Celestial Master, sealed by a black talisman, dressed in a four-clawed dragon robe, buried for 1,000 years, with sword and seal as grave goods, and just struck by heavenly lightning once already. Every buff in the book is stacked on this guy. If he actually reanimates, nothing can save them. Doyle is genuinely panicking now. Just as the robbers are about to strip off the dragon robe, the corpse in the coffin suddenly opens its eyes. Brock is still struggling to tear the robe off, grumbling about how tight the fabric is, while urging his men to hurry. He hasn't noticed that the man beside him has already frozen stiff with terror. Brock's movements halt. He turns to look at the corpse, and his face instantly drains of all color. Not a drop of blood left in it. I open my mouth, and exhale a wisp of pitch-black corpse aura. My golden hollow eyes lock onto them, cold and unblinking. What are you doing? The question sends the robbers into complete hysteria. They scramble backward like startled rabbits, fur on end. The next moment, Doyle watches as the corpse, draped in dragon robe and purple robe alike, slowly rises to its feet. The black talisman on its forehead glows faintly purple, but it can no longer contain what's happening. Its power over the corpse aura is useless now. I open my eyes fully, my pupils now a pure molten gold. The only thought in my mind is slaughter. In the next instant, I step out onto empty air, my body floating aloft in midair. My gaze sweeps around, landing on the robber not far off, the one still clutching the seal of authority, along with the Covenant registry. I raise one withered, wooden thin hand, silver-purple lightning crackling quietly in my palm. The Five Thunders divine art. This art comes from memories long buried in time. Though I originally came from Earth, ever since fusing with this body, the memories of its former owner have flooded into my mind. Now, I am a fusion of two souls layered as one. I strain to recall the thunder art I once practiced in life. Though I've only recovered a tenth of my original cultivation, and it's been over 2,000 years, my first use of the technique feels a little rusty, producing only a few flickering arcs of silver-purple lightning. But by the second attempt, it comes with ease. Bolts of thunderlight weave together, crisscrossing in brilliant streaks. In the next instant, thunder crashes down, streaking straight toward the robber holding the seal and the registry, and the violent bolt shakes the entire tomb chamber. In an instant, the robber is reduced to a charred husk. The rest of the men are scared out of their wits. It just killed him in a single hit? Doyle is so terrified he collapses to the ground. This Jiangshi even knows thunder art? This is beyond unnatural. But thinking it over carefully, it does make a strange kind of sense. He was a celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain in life, so it's not so strange he can still wield thunder art after turning into a Jiangshi. But a Jiangshi casting thunder art, that's utterly absurd, beyond reason. You should know in tradition, a Jiangshi has always had two mortal enemies. A Taoist who can draw talismans to seal evil, and heavenly lightning, which can destroy any demon. But neither of those two things has any effect on the Jiangshi standing before them. And that's simply because he himself is a founding ancestor of the Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoist order. Every Taoist alive today has to address him respectfully as ancestor. And that boundlessly powerful Five Thunders divine art. It's the very technique I created and passed down myself, back in my day. Even if an ancestor tier being has turned into this, who under heaven could possibly stop me? What's even more terrifying, I mastered the thunder art the moment I woke up. Doyle's face turns green with dread. This is simply unheard of. Just as I finish off the robber who stole the seal and the registry, the system chime rings in my ears again. New quest issued. Recover the Celestial Master's sword, the seal of authority, and the Covenant registry. Reward: the 36 yin transformations, the bean soldier spell, and thunder adapted body. The next moment, sharp force gathers in my palm. A massive, invisible force erupts outward, sweeping through the entire chamber in an instant, pulling the two treasures off the charred body straight back into my hand. I hook them onto my belt and tuck them away. Then I slowly turn my head, my gaze locking onto Brock. At this moment, the sword of exorcism is still clutched in his hand. Feeling my stare, Brock's whole body goes cold. Why are you looking at me like that? His remaining men are already scared witless, scattering in every direction, not daring to come one step closer. But Brock is no ordinary man. Years spent living on the edge have hardened him against every storm. He reaches back with one hand, pulls out a handful of sticky rice, and hurls it at me. I glance down at the rice scattered across my body, and let out a scoff. What kind of junk is this supposed to be? Before it even reaches me, the damp corpse aura around my body scatters it completely. Seeing that, I can't help but chuckle. People these days still try sticky rice on me? With that, I extend my palm, and the sharp pulling force triggers again. It yanks the bag of rice straight out of his hand, and along with it, I seize the black donkey hoof and yellow talisman he's carrying too. Brock is completely dumbstruck. Whoa, this Jiangshi is stealing the very things meant to counter him? Anti-Jiangshi items ending up in the Jiangshi's own hands. Isn't that basically a death sentence for us? But it only gets more absurd from here. Once I have the sticky rice, I pour it straight into my mouth and start chewing. Then I grab the black donkey hoof and gnaw on it with relish. Next, I press the yellow talisman flat against my own chest. There's a loud pop, and the talisman bursts apart on the spot, not managing to suppress me in the slightest. The robbers' faces go numb with fear. Doyle, though, looks utterly unsurprised. He'd already suspected this would happen. If even a top-tier black talisman couldn't seal him, what hope did a plain yellow talisman ever have? The sticky rice has become his main course, the donkey hoof his snack, and the yellow talisman is now nothing but discarded scrap paper. Just how absurd is this Jiangshi? Finishing off the donkey hoof, I turn my gaze back to Brock. What else have you got in that bag of tricks? If you've got something, show it. Don't say I never gave you the chance. Rage and fear boiling together, Brock is pushed completely over the edge. He draws the sword of exorcism and charges forward with a roar. To hell with you! I'll fight you to the death. Today. He's betting everything on this one shot. Since it's a sword meant to slay evil, maybe it really can handle this strange Jiangshi. But hopeful as the thought is, reality proves far crueler. Just as he charges forward, sword raised at the other end of the tomb passage, the police and Mia, along with the entire group from Dragon Tiger Mountain, finally arrive at the burial chamber. They lay eyes on the horrifying scene before them. There's an actual Jiangshi, and it's floating in midair, wearing a dragon robe no less. Isn't that the celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain? He just reanimated, and he's already a flying Jiangshi. Everyone freezes on the spot. The livestream chat erupts into total chaos. The Taoists of Dragon Tiger Mountain look grim, their faces ashen. Their own ancestor has turned into a murderous Jiangshi. This scene is a public humiliation for the entire order. Most importantly, the corpse aura is overwhelming. Standing at the chamber entrance, Cassian, the purple-robed celestial master, already feels a suffocating, crushing pressure. An opponent like this is going to be almost impossible to handle. Meanwhile, Brock has already closed the distance. He raises the sacred sword high and brings it down at me with everything he has, gambling that the legendary sword can slay a Jiangshi as the stories claim, that it can overpower evil beings. Using a Dragon Tiger Mountain sacred sword to kill a Dragon Tiger Mountain Jiangshi. It's ironic, and there's a mad thrill to it. I simply glance at him, unbothered, dripping with disdain. Immortal holds the sword of exorcism and thinks himself invincible now? You should know, this blade already has an owner. With a light beckoning gesture, the sword responds instantly, wrenching itself free from his grip and flying straight into my hand. Sword in hand, I unleash several fierce blades of sword energy in an instant, slicing through the air itself with a sharp, piercing sound. In the blink of an eye, Brock is cut down into a bloody stump. You draw my own blade to strike me down? You think you're worthy of that? The strike leaves everyone present frozen in shock. A thick stench of blood floods the entire tomb chamber. Everyone is stunned by the sheer brutality of this Jiangshi. After reclaiming the sword, seal, and registry, the system chime sounds once more. Congratulations, player. All 3 celestial treasures recovered. Reward granted, the 36 yin transformations, the bean soldier spell, and thunder adapted body. As the rewards settle in, new techniques flood into my mind at once, and the thunder adapted body takes effect immediately. Actually, when I cast the thunder art earlier, I already sensed something was off. Though this body is powerful, it clashes faintly with the nature of thunder itself. Every time I drew on that power, a strong resistance pushed back against me. It seems corpse aura and heavenly lightning are naturally at odds. A reanimated corpse body clashes with thunder art by its very nature. Still, this isn't entirely unexpected. Now that the adapted body has merged with me, that inner discord vanishes at once. Which means from now on I can unleash the 5 Thunders divine art without any restraint. This feeling of total freedom is beyond satisfying. Meanwhile, on the other side of the chamber, the remaining robbers are already scared out of their souls. In their blind panic, they suddenly notice that at the chamber entrance, a group of police officers has somehow flooded in. Like drowning men grabbing a lifeline, they sprint toward the officers, screaming for help. At this point, they'd rather rot behind bars than be sliced into a stump like Brock. After all, they've seen exactly what happened to their comrade. This is 100 times more terrifying than execution. Watching the men surrender themselves willingly, the police find themselves caught in an impossible bind. Staring at the reanimated celestial master in the tomb, they silently question the gun in their own hands. Would it even do anything against a being like this? Meanwhile, I remain floating in midair, my gaze locked firmly on the tomb robbers. The system quest isn't finished yet. Every single robber must die. Not one of them gets to walk away. You dared to break into my coffin and even dig up my own grave. If you were looking to die, you found the wrong way to do it. I raise one withered finger, pointing it slowly toward them. Instantly, the corpse aura churns violently, and thunder energy roils without pause. Seeing this, The livestream chat floods with messages. Whoa, the Celestial Master isn't leaving a single one alive. Now that's real Celestial Master authority. I'm bowing down, absolutely bowing. The robbers running for help have barely made it halfway when I've already unleashed a bolt of thunder in their direction. The lightning explodes right in front of them, instantly killing one of them on the spot. The rest freeze at the deafening crack of thunder, too terrified to move another inch. The scene falls into dead silence. The officers, still clear-headed, grow desperate at once. This Jiangshi is far too violent. But they don't dare act rashly either. After all, this isn't an ordinary Jiangshi. He's an ancestor of Dragon Tiger Mountain itself. The robbers trespassed on his grave first, and that's what triggered the reanimation. If they open fire and provoke this old ancestor further, every one of them might end up joining the dead. The officers turn their gazes toward the Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoists behind them. Master Cassian, please, help us out here. Only now do they remember, Taoists are the ones who specialize in exorcising evil, and this Jiangshi happens to be their own ancestor. This is family business. It should be handled by their own. Cassian exchanges a glance with the other Taoists, lets out a sigh and slowly steps forward. The livestream and the police hold their breath, waiting, ready to witness a Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoist face off against the murderous Jiangshi in an epic showdown. But what happens next leaves everyone completely stunned. Cassian leads the Taoists forward, entering the chamber without striking a single blow. Instead, they quickly line up in a row with Cassian at the very front, and he drops straight to his knees. The others follow, forming ritual mudras with their hands and kneeling together in a unified bow. The 77th generation Celestial Master of Dragon Tiger Mountain, unworthy descendant Cassian, pays respects to the ancestor. The other red robe and yellow robe Taoists kneel as well, forming their own mudras in prayer and calling out together, "Ancestor!" This stunning scene leaves everyone in the room utterly baffled. Wait, hold on. Why are you kneeling to him? Shouldn't you subdue him first, and bow after? He's already turned into a Jiangshi. Even the police are baffled. They rush forward, urging, "Shouldn't you subdue him first before bowing?" Cassian slowly rises to his feet, speaking with dead seriousness. "Our ancestor has reanimated. Go ahead, try not kneeling to him and see what happens. Whether we can beat him is a separate matter entirely, but bowing extra never hurts. Just look at his stats. A third ancestor Celestial Master, draped in a dragon robe, sealed by a black talisman, buried for 2,000 years, buried with sword, seal, and registry as grave goods, struck alive by lightning, and now merged with a cultivation system. Every single buff on this man is maxed out." Cassian can barely stop himself from cursing out loud. People only know Taoists exist to catch Jiangshi, but nobody asks who exactly they're catching. If this were some evil creature like a drought demon, he'd fight it to the death without hesitation. But this is a third ancestor Celestial Master of Dragon Tiger Mountain, a hereditary founding figure of the entire order, and the direct grandson of Zhang Daoling himself. Back in the day, a being like this would be on par with a retired emperor. Someone of this caliber, who would dare lay a hand on him after he's turned? And how would anyone even go about it? The 3 supreme treasures he carries are each stronger than any artifact currently held by Dragon Tiger Mountain. Cassian's heart pounds with unease. He's not even sure he could match the ancestor, let alone when the man has already mastered the 5 Thunders' divine art right after reanimating. The sheer power of that thunder, even Cassian has to admit he can't compare. And so Cassian and every Taoist present give up resistance entirely, dropping to their knees at once and admitting defeat outright. "Ancestor, we are the unworthy ones. Please forgive our disrespect. In Taoism, nothing matters more than generational hierarchy. Who among them would dare act rashly against an elder? Though I've turned into a Jiangshi, I'm no mindless, wandering corpse. I possess a complete mind and soul, and right now it's more like I've been reborn in the body of a Jiangshi." I look down at my kneeling descendants, and speak slowly. There's no need for further bowing. Rise. The moment those words leave my mouth, the tomb chamber falls into dead silence. Viewers on the live stream, the police, Mia, and the surviving robbers all turn to stone with shock. Every face is a mask of disbelief. This Jiangshi can actually talk? Dead for 2,000 years and he can still hold a normal conversation? This is beyond ridiculous. Cassian and the others freeze for a few seconds, then rise to their feet respectfully. Cassian speaks with utmost sincerity, his voice heavy with guilt. "Old ancestor, we have failed in our duty. We couldn't protect your resting place and let petty criminals disturb your peace. Please return to the estate and rest. Leave these tomb robbers to us." I shake my head slightly, my voice cold. The tomb being robbed and my reanimation have nothing to do with any of you. I have no wish to become an enemy to my own descendants. Take the outsiders and leave. I'll deal with the tomb robbers myself. The moment those words fall, Cassian understands he's just been dismissed. Still, he wants to try one more time, attempting to reason with him. "Old ancestor, the world has changed a great deal. Justice is now carried out through the courts, much like the government offices of your own time. Letting them handle it would be more just." The police captain quickly steps forward to agree. "In life you were a righteous celestial master who protected the Tao with your own blood. We will absolutely punish these robbers according to the law. There will be no leniency." In their eyes, given the ancestor's great virtue in life, he'd surely agree to let the police handle things. But before their words even finish, my lips part slightly, and a golden Taoist incantation suddenly rings through the entire chamber. The police, only vaguely familiar with Taoist incantations, are still trying to work out what it means, but the moment Cassian hears the chant, his face turns paper white in an instant. Every Taoist behind him goes just as pale, terror scattering their very souls. Almost on instinct, they stumble backward, bowing frantically as they retreat. "Ancestor, forgive us, we're leaving right now, sorry to intrude, stop staring, run for your lives." Everyone flees the chamber without a single backward glance. The police are completely baffled, confusion written across their faces. Weren't we just having a reasonable conversation? He just chanted a few words and now you're all running away?" But there's no time to think it through as the Taoists drag them away by force, pulling me along with them out of the scene entirely. Before Cassian leaves, he turns and bows deeply toward the tomb one last time. Inside the chamber, only a handful of robbers and Doyle remain. They want to run too, but my gaze is locked tight onto them, their legs going weak beneath them, unable to take a single step. All they can do is scream desperately toward the departing police. "Officers, take us with you, please!" The police look torn, caught between two impossible choices. The Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoists have already fled, and letting the robbers go unpunished feels wrong, but standing by and watching them die in there doesn't sit right either. The captain hesitates, wanting to make one more attempt. The moment Cassian hears this, he rolls his eyes hard. "Friend, this humble Taoist has one piece of advice for you, don't go back in there. Whoever goes in, dies." The captain looks utterly baffled, still not understanding what's going on. Seriously? Weren't things going fine a second ago? Cassian is nearly losing his mind with frustration and can't help but curse. "Reasonable, my ass. Do you have any idea what the old ancestor just chanted? That was the Savage Thunder curse." "What's that? Is it strong or something? Aren't you a celestial master too? Can't you cast incantations like that?" Cassian lets out a bitter laugh, helplessness written across his face. "You give this humble Taoist far too much credit. The Savage Thunder curse is nowhere near my level. It's a forbidden incantation I don't even have the right to learn." His voice drops lower, heavy with gravity. The old ancestor has made himself perfectly clear. Either you leave, or you turn to ash right alongside those robbers. Sure enough, not long after they leave the tomb, the sky transforms without warning. Black clouds churn and gather, lightning flashing and thunder rolling. A blood-red bolt of lightning crashes down from the heavens, trailing waves of killing intent behind it, plunging straight down into the underground tomb. With a thunderous roar, the entire tomb caves in completely. The livestream chat explodes instantly. Messages flood the screen without pause. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what kind of lightning is that? It's red, this is real, actual. This must be divine punishment." The old ancestor just wiped them off the map. Deep underground, every remaining tomb robber, along with Doyle, is consumed by the lightning instantly, reduced to ash and scattered dust. Doyle, as it happens, came from a minor branch of the Taoist order himself, and still dared to help rob an ancestor's grave. His death is nothing he doesn't deserve. As the lightning tribulation finishes falling, the system chime rings once more. Ding! Congratulations, player. Quest complete, kill all tomb robbers. Reward granted, the Undying Corpse Immortal art and the Five Thunders divine art. Then I step forward, walking on empty air, rising slowly out of the ruined tomb. The thunderclouds still haven't cleared, residual lightning crackling faintly through them. The dragon robe and purple robe I wear snap and flutter in the wind. The Undying Corpse Immortal art and the Five Thunders divine art fuse together rapidly inside me, and my power surges wildly. In an instant, I sense it. The Taoist cultivation buried in me for so long is quietly stirring back to life. As the body of a true descendant of the celestial master lineage, the Taoist arts I mastered in life are steadily returning to me now. And as a reanimated Jiangxia, I can not only reclaim my peak cultivation from before, but also merge Jiangxi abilities with Taoist divine powers, achieving a state where corpse and Tao become one. When that time comes, ascending further should be effortless. Heaven itself is on my side. This humble Taoist has stumbled upon a path that leads straight to the very peak of the heavenly Tao. With the right cultivation method, even a corpse body can attain the way of eternal life, and the Tao itself can return to its most primal state. At that moment, the system chime rings again. New quest triggered. A massive ghost domain has appeared at the water reservoir south of the city. A shard of primordial yin essence lies within. Travel there and absorb it for the following rewards: the 36 yin transformations, the 7 nailhead swords, and the purple gold cultivation method. 10% more of your former cultivation and thunder art restored. My gaze sharpens instantly. This is a golden opportunity, delivered right to my doorstep. Killing intent and primordial essence, both are exactly the cultivation resources I need most right now. If I simply devour them, my power will surge dramatically. Outside the tomb, everyone watches as I shoot skyward, every face draining of color and shock. Cassian's expression darkens instantly. This is bad. The ancestor is about to leave the mountain and enter the world. The tomb robbers have already been executed. By all rights, his grievance should have been resolved by now. The old ancestor should be lying back down to rest in peace. But instead, he's soaring out into the world, and that changes everything. Dragon Tiger Mountain carries a heavy duty. Guarding the Tao and monitoring demons has always been our sacred obligation. But now, our own ancestor is walking the mortal world in the body of a Jiangshi. It's a deeply unsettling contradiction. Steeling himself, Cassian steps forward and speaks up. Old ancestor, please stop. You have already passed from this world. You mustn't set foot in it again. Forgive this unworthy descendant today, but I have no choice but to stand in your way. I look into his resolute eyes, and a faint smile crosses my face. I didn't expect that among my descendants, there'd still be one with this much backbone. But right after that, I opened my mouth and let out a shout, 1,000 rolling thunderclaps pouring out of me at once. Cassian, stand down, you cannot stop me. The old ancestor has no wish to fight you today, so don't invite trouble on yourself. This is a technique tied to the Five Thunders' divine art, one of its bonus abilities, the Thunder Roar. The sound crashes down, and the very air itself cracks apart, shattering dozens of trees nearby into splinters. The scene falls into instant silence. Livestream viewers watch, scalps prickling with fear. Just the sound alone carries that much destructive force. I'm completely stunned. The Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoists exchange bewildered glances. What kind of immortal technique is this? Cassian grits his teeth, thinking, this won't do. I cannot let him leave. There's no guarantee the old ancestor won't bring disaster upon the mortal world once he's gone. With that, he gives the order. Form the 7-star Dipper sword array. Over a dozen Taoists draw their swords in unison, red robes and yellow robes converging together. Cassian himself calls forth his own bound sword, his personal sword of exorcism, which becomes the core of the array. Sword hearts and sword energy weave across each other, 7 stars aligning in brilliant unison, transforming into countless streaking meteors that come slashing toward me. My eyes sharpen. A cold glint flashes from beneath my dragon robe as the sword of exorcism draws itself in response. Thunder energy surges in an instant. I speak in a low, resonant voice. Pure essence sacred art. First blade of the newborn, strike. With a single slash, the 7-star sword array shatters instantly. Every Taoist is blown backward, the sword energy never even having to touch them. The sheer force alone sends their blood and chi churning violently. I reach out and grip the air, and Cassian's own sword of exorcism drops straight into my hand. With this, both twin celestial master swords of Dragon Tiger Mountain now belong to me. Cassian's face turns ghostly white. He cries out involuntarily, "No! My sword!" The police, Mia, and everyone watching on the livestream are struck dumb with disbelief. So this is the true strength of the old ancestor. A whole sword array taken down in a single strike. The gap between them is just too vast. Cassian's heart aches with bitterness. He never imagined he'd lose this fast. By all reason, this shouldn't be the outcome. I let out a light laugh. Did you not know that back in my day this 7-star Dipper sword array was created by my own hands? And you dare use my own array against me? Cassian is left utterly speechless. The revelation catches him completely off guard, and he'd genuinely forgotten that detail in the moment. This level of mastery is truly beyond measure. I toss the sword back into his hands. You should hold on to your own weapon. This humble Taoist has actual business to attend to, and no time to waste on games like this. Before the words even finish, I've already transformed into a streak of lightning and vanished into the distance. Honestly, when it comes to this descendant, I hold him in a fair bit of regard. The moment I first reanimated and woke inside that tomb, this kid was the first to kneel and bow, without hesitation. Clearly, he still understands proper respect. Even when his ancestor's appearance had changed beyond recognition, he still knelt when he was supposed to, and paid proper respect where it was due. Just now, when I broke free and left, he knew full well he couldn't win, and still stood his ground to stop me anyway. That kind of resolve isn't unworthy of the Celestial Master title he holds, or the purple gold robe he wears. If not for that, I would have confiscated his Celestial Master's sword today. Cassian stares down at the sword tossed back into his hands, his expression a tangled mess of emotions. The bad news, his sword was seized the instant he faced the old ancestor. The good news, the old ancestor never intended to kill him, and even gave the sword back. Cassian is left completely at a loss, with no idea how to make sense of any of it. Now that I've left, the officers breathe a sigh of relief. Master Cassian, why didn't you stop him just now? Don't you know Thunder Art too? Cassian shoots him a sidelong glare. Have you lost your mind? You want me to use Thunder Art against him? The old ancestor can summon lightning that fills the sky without even trying. If I so much as dared to cast a thunder technique myself, he'd answer with a heavenly bolt that could tear the sky apart. Whoa, good grief. When it comes to Thunder Art, how could I, a mere 77th generation Celestial Master, ever match a third ancestor from the founding generation? That would be nothing short of suicide. The police captain watches Cassian's utterly defeated expression and can't help but sigh. The current situation, he realizes, is about as thorny as it gets. This ancestor turned Jiangshi has terrifying strength, and worst of all, his whereabouts are now completely unknown. Whether he'll bring harm to innocent people is anyone's guess. More trouble is bound to follow. After a brief exchange, no one dares to waste any more time. They immediately set a tracking plan into motion, with the police and Dragon Tiger Mountain splitting off to handle it separately, each pursuing their own part of the effort. Elsewhere, a streak of lightning tears across the sky. Damp corpse aura still clinging to my body. I pause for a moment, get my bearings, and then surge forward at full speed, racing toward the southern edge of the city. The sun is already set by now, and Dragon Tiger City slowly slips into darkness. By the reservoir south of the city, a group of young people is out camping. They're small-time influencers on a short video platform, here specifically to film a wilderness fishing skit. Since the storyline calls for it, they've set up camp here to shoot night scenes and wait for dark. But nearly 2 hours after wrapping the skit, they still can't get the campfire lit, and dinner is nowhere in sight. Among the crew, several of the elaborately dressed influencers are seething with irritation. Tyler, in charge of the fire, is full of frustration too. It's not like I'm not trying, something's genuinely off tonight. The fire catches for a second, then just dies on its own. One of the male influencers, unconvinced, frowns and snatches the lighter from him. Let me handle it. Just because you can't light it doesn't mean I can't either. We've got fire starter wax and alcohol. If you still can't get a campfire going with that, you might just be useless. But what happens next is something deeply strange. The flame flares up for just a moment, then rapidly shrinks and dies out completely. The wood is dry and should catch easily, but it simply refuses to burn. Everyone stares, completely baffled. Every condition for a fire is met, yet it just won't catch. This makes no sense at all. No one has any idea what's wrong, and none of them notice that the instant the moon slips behind a cloud, a vast ghost domain silently materializes all around their campsite. As the domain finishes forming, countless wraiths and vengeful spirits crawl slowly out of the wild reservoir grounds, converging toward the campsite. The elders of Dragon Tiger City all know this well. The southern reservoir sits nestled between mountain and water, and feng shui masters have long considered it a place of powerful geomantic energy. Since ancient times it served as a burial ground, until a crematorium was eventually built there, followed by an official cemetery, and the area around the reservoir gradually fell into neglect. Locals generally avoid going anywhere near it. The problem is, these influencers have no idea about any of that history. All they know is that the southern reservoir has gorgeous scenery, and has recently become a hotspot for short video content. With the fire refusing to catch no matter what, several of them can't help but curse in frustration, and head back to their tents to rest. But the moment they step inside, the atmosphere around them shifts abruptly. Under the moonlight, countless ghostly pale figures suddenly appear, slowly closing in around the tents. Inside one of the tents, Marcus, the influencer agency's boss, sits with Bianca, sharing a glass of red wine, discussing a business deal. The next second, he suddenly senses something is wrong. A heavy weight seems to press down on him from behind. He whips around and jumps back in sheer terror. A wraith is somehow perched on his shoulder, without him ever noticing. The wraith opens its gaping, blood-red maw, and swallows him whole in an instant. A blood-curdling scream immediately erupts from inside the tent. Bianca wets herself on the spot, watching in horror as Marcus is devoured alive right before her eyes. She spins around and bolts for the exit, but the moment she bursts out of the tent, she freezes in place instantly. The area around the tents is already swarming with wraiths, and the moment they spot her, they eye her like a feast laid out before them, and swarm toward her all at once, intent on tearing her apart alive. Just as she's about to be torn to pieces, a crimson beam of light descends from above, revealing the Crimson Queen, a ghost sovereign in blood-red robes, cradling a wraith infant against her chest. Right behind her, another ghost sovereign appears. The eunuch king, his yin aura even heavier than hers. He's dressed in Qing dynasty eunuch's robes, looking every bit like a chief eunuch making his rounds. He holds a white ceremonial whisk in one hand, and bellows with murderous fury. "What do you think you're doing, grabbing at food? His Highness and her ladyship haven't even eaten yet, and you lowly wretches dare take a bite first?" The moment the two ghost sovereigns arrive, the entire scene falls silent instantly. The wraiths exchange uneasy glances, and in the end, they have no choice but to obediently raise the influencers they've caught, presenting them to the sovereigns like offerings. The Crimson Queen nods with satisfaction and casually picks the fairest-skinned one among them. She lifts the influencer's face and studies it closely, then extends her tongue for a taste. But the very next second, her brow furrows sharply, and she spits it right out on the spot. What is this? What on earth is this stuff? She'd meant to savor the woman's living yang energy, but instead got a mouthful of foundation makeup. Looking at the influencer's face now, most of her makeup has been licked clean off, exposing her true face underneath. Even the eunuch king beside her flinches in surprise. What in the world kind of sorcery is this? The difference between before and after is staggering. He's about to scold the woman for caking on so much powder, when the wraith infant in the Crimson Queen's arms suddenly starts to wail. Catching the scent of living yang energy nearby, the infant balls its mouth wide open, rows of tiny, needle-sharp teeth on full display. The shrill cry is so piercing it feels like it could shred someone's nerves apart. The remaining influencers are terrified out of their minds, and a puddle spreads across the ground beneath them. Seeing this, both ghost sovereigns grow visibly irritated. All you do is cry to eat, eat, eat. Fine, here, eat this first. The Crimson Queen grabs the wraith infant by the neck and yanks it clean out of its swaddling cloth, handling it as casually as a toy. But the infant shows no sign of pain at all. It just grins wide and laughs instead. The two of them seem to be playing some deeply unsettling little game. Meanwhile, beyond the boundary of the ghost domain, I've already arrived above the reservoir, standing on nothing but empty air, poised between earth and sky. Below me, yin energy hangs thick and unmoving. I open my spiritual eye, my golden Jiangshi gaze sweeping the ground below, and everything within the black mist becomes instantly clear. Wraiths swarm the area in droves down there, with the 3 ghost sovereigns standing out above the rest. Yin energy this pure is nothing short of top-tier sustenance for a Jiangshi's body. These 3 ghost sovereigns might as well be 3,000-year-old ginseng roots, just dangling right in front of me, prime nourishment, ripe for the taking. I take a single step forward, and plunge straight into the ghost domain. Just as the wraith infant is about to bite down on the influencer, a shrieking sound tears through the sky above. A figure wrapped in damp black aura plummets down from the heavens, tearing straight through the black mist of the ghost domain by sheer force. Every one of the countless wraiths freezes at my sudden appearance, shock rippling through the entire domain. Whatever this thing is, breaking through the domain's barrier like that, just what kind of creature could it be? Even the 3 ghost sovereigns, the most powerful beings present, failed to react in the first instant. This being just shattered the domain's barrier outright? You should know. This black mist barrier is formed from the densest concentration of yin energy, practically unbreakable by nature. It's designed to let ordinary living humans pass through easily, and the larger a ghost domain grows, the heavier its yin energy becomes, and the sturdier its barrier grows in turn. For a ghost domain this size, on the scale of the southern reservoir, even a yellow-robed Taoist from Dragon Tiger Mountain, or a red-robed Grand Master from Mount Maun himself, might not manage to force his way through it quickly. And yet I've just torn straight through it with a single move. Every wraith's eyes are drawn to the figure descending from the sky. Thick corpse aura clings to my entire body, plainly marking me as a Jiangshi. And I'm dressed in a black dragon robe, no less. The moment the eunuch king spots that robe, fury explodes across his face. In his past life, he was a chief eunuch of the Qing court, and the thing he took the most pride in was serving the emperor and the empress dowager herself. And now some Jiangshi is strutting around in a dragon robe, right in front of him. He immediately erupts into a torrent of curses. The Crimson Queen's gaze sharpens. Something feels wrong about this. This figure has a long sword strapped across his back, and beneath the dragon robe another layer of clothing is faintly visible. Her gaze pierces through the layers of fabric, and her entire body shudders. Isn't that the purple robe of Dragon Tiger Mountain? Could this be the legendary purple robe celestial master, reanimated? Her heart skips a beat. She's crossed paths with plenty of wraiths and even fought Jiangshi before, but a celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain, reanimated as a Jiangshi, who could have ever seen that coming? And if this really is a celestial master from Dragon Tiger Mountain, then breaking through the ghost domain's barrier in a single strike isn't even surprising at all. The moment the Crimson Queen recognizes who I truly am, the eunuch king has already given the order: rally every wraith under your command, tear this intruder apart. In an instant, an endless swarm of wraiths lets out a roar and charges straight at me. The Crimson Queen tries to stop them, but it's already too late. My expression stays perfectly calm. Facing the wave of wraiths bearing down on me, I feel nothing, not even a ripple. With a casual flick of my withered Jiangshi fingers through the air, a purple thunder talisman condenses into being right before us. Seeing this, the Crimson Queen feels her pupils constrict sharply. Could this be Celestial Master Thunder Art? Legend speaks of a supreme thunder technique, one whose casting method is called the heaven-piercing technique. Only someone with mastery of talismans at the highest level can subdue a target directly through empty space, and its power far exceeds anything ordinary. But Dragon Tiger Mountain's heaven-piercing technique was lost after the third ancestor's generation, and now somehow someone has brought it back. This is truly unbelievable. At the eunuch king's command, countless wraiths charge at me all at once. At that moment the system chime rings in my ears. New quest triggered. Eliminate every wraith within the ghost domain. Reward upon completion, the 36 yin transformations, wind and rain mastery, and a shard of the myriad souls banner, plus 3 more. Hearing this, a stiff smile tugs at the corner of my mouth. Then don't blame me for what comes next. A moment later, a thunder-chasing talisman appears in my hand with a simple gesture. Silently, I recite the incantation in my mind, and the talisman's power erupts into bolts of purple lightning, scattering in every direction. Wherever the thunderlight passes, wraith after wraith is torn apart in an instant. Then I open my mouth and inhale sharply, drawing out the purest ghost energy from within them, pulling it straight into me. Seeing this, the remaining wraiths are scared out of what's left of their souls. A Jiangshi that can cast thunder art? This is a nightmare even for ghosts. The whole scene collapses into chaos and confusion. The wraiths shriek and scatter, turning tail to flee. None of them can wrap their heads around it. The thing they were just swarming a moment ago has somehow become an unstoppable devil in the span of a breath. I let out a light chuckle. A shame. Do you honestly think you can still escape? Before this humble Taoist thunder art, all beings are equal. Not one of you is slipping out of here alive. I wave my hand once more, summoning another thunder talisman. This time, it's the thunder purging talisman. A heartbeat later, incantation after incantation echoes through the eerie domain, closing with the ritual command, swift as the law commands. The talisman detonates with a deafening crack, its power several times fiercer than the thunder-chasing talisman before it. The overwhelming thunder lights up the entire ghost domain as bright as day. Hundreds of wraiths, barely able to flee, are vaporized on the spot. None of them can break free of this sea of lightning. As I absorb massive amounts of pure ghost energy, I feel the corpse flesh within me begin to stir, an indescribable sense of fullness spreading through every inch of my body. The sensation is beyond words, simply exquisite. Off in the distance, the three ghost sovereigns are utterly stunned. The eunuch king curls his fingers into a delicate pose, trembling from head to toe. Is this thing a Jiangshi or a Taoist? How can it possibly cast thunder art too? Are we all just seeing things? This is beyond absurd, its absurdity opening the door for even more absurdity. Beside him, a chill runs through the Crimson Queen's heart. The urge to flee rises in her instantly. She can feel clearly the crushing pressure radiating off this Jiangshi, along with the strange, unfathomable pulse of his thunder art. This ancient Jiangshi could wipe out the entire ghost domain with a snap of his fingers. She backs away slowly, murmuring a warning under her breath. Judging by his attire and his artifacts, this must be some ancestor of Dragon Tiger Mountain, reanimated. In a state like this, even a 5,000-year-old ghost emperor showing up in person would have to eat a couple of slaps first. Even black and white impermanents running into him would need to march out with some proper form before turning to run. I'll take my leave first, farewell. The Crimson Queen had dealings with Dragon Tiger Mountain in years past, and knows a fair bit about the lineage of its celestial masters. Right now, she's certain, this Jiangshi is very likely a transformed celestial master from generations past. Determined not to be buried alongside the others, she turns to leave at once. But before going, mindful of their alliance, she still gives a warning to the Wraith Infant and the Eunuch King. With that, she bolts without a single look back. Better my allies die than me. The moment the words leave her mouth, she dissolves into crimson light and vanishes completely. The Eunuch King and the Wraith Infant exchange a glance, both their faces twisting in dread. An ancestor of Dragon Tiger Mountain, reanimated. No wonder he can cast thunder art. A purple-robed celestial master, undead, and a master of thunder too. Even a ghost emperor would have to call him master if it came to a fight. The two of them waste no more time. With a single flicker of movement, they blur into streaks of black light, ready to flee. I sense the ghost sovereign's intent to run, and my golden eyes sharpen instantly. I lock on, tracking all three of their fleeing figures without mercy. At that moment, the system chime rings again. New quest issued: intercept, subdue, and capture the fleeing ghost sovereigns. Reward upon completion: the 36 yin transformations, yin-yang reversal, and 3 more shards of the Myriad Souls banner, plus 1 soul-shackling chain. I tilt my head up, watching the 3 sovereigns desperately trying to flee, a cold smile spreading across my lips. None of you are going anywhere. Golden light suddenly flares behind me, and a massive golden avatar materializes in the empty air, one of the 6 Ding generals of Taoist lore. I strike out with my palm, and the avatar mirrors the motion with a thunderous blow of its own. It knocks all 3 ghost sovereigns clean out of the sky, one after another. They crash back down to the ground, ears ringing, heads spinning. The Crimson Queen struggles to sit up, letting out a bitter laugh. We're all demons and ghosts here, the only difference between us being corpse and spirit. Why turn on each other? We're supposed to be on the same side. I glance at her, my voice cold. You think you're worthy of calling yourself the same side as me? Don't flatter yourself. I'll give you one choice: submit now and you keep your life. If you're foolish enough to refuse this mercy, thunder energy churns violently around my entire body as I speak. The purple lightning from before has now condensed into a blinding silver-white glow. White lightning marks the second stage of thunder art's evolution, many times more terrifying than the purple bolts before it. Feeling the crushing weight of the white lightning bearing down on her, the Crimson Queen's face turns dark as storm water. You think you can make me bow? Dream on. She turns to the 2 sovereigns beside her, whispering, in a moment we strike from 3 sides. Let's take our shot at him together. No matter how strong he is, he can't hold off all 3 of us at once. But the words have barely left her mouth when the Eunuch King beside her raises his whisk and throws the whole plan into chaos on the spot. If you want to fight, fight it yourself. This servant isn't fighting. From this moment on, you are this servant's new master. The Crimson Queen loses it completely on the spot. You haven't even fought and you're already surrendering? Can you even still call yourself a ghost sovereign? You're an embarrassment to all of us. The Eunuch King rolls his eyes at her. He can knock all 3 of us out of the sky with a single slap, and with just as easily, he could send all 3 of us to the afterlife with another. When it comes to knowing exactly where he stands, the Eunuch King has 0 illusions about himself. Right now, there's still a chance to surrender, but once the fighting actually starts, there may not even be a chance to surrender anymore. He's the first to raise his hand in respectful surrender, walking over to bow his head before me as a loyal subject. I look at him with satisfaction. The Eunuch King promptly speaks up. Master, this servant dares to ask, which generation's celestial master of Dragon Tiger Mountain were you in life? And that dragon robe you're wearing? This humble Taoist was the 3rd ancestor of Dragon Tiger Mountain, Auric, posthumously canonized by Emperor Zhuanwu as the perfected lord of heavenly clarity and illumination. In the late Eastern Han, Prime Minister Cao and the Han Emperor granted me the title General who pacifies the South, and Foft as Marquis of the Waves, with dominion over countless households. This dragon robe was bestowed on me by the imperial court itself. Whoa, that's badass. This ranks way higher than anything in the Qing dynasty. The eunuch king's eyes fill instantly with pure admiration. He turns to face the Crimson Queen and the Wraith Infant. The two of you had better surrender right now. You've offended his imperial presence, so don't blame the servant for forgetting old loyalties. I won't hold back this time. The Crimson Queen and the Wraith Infant shoot him looks of pure contempt. A servant is a servant through and through. Quick to switch sides, aren't you? The Crimson Queen flashes her claws, which instantly elongate into razor-sharp blades. She charges straight at me. Beside her, the Wraith Infant lets out a shrill screech and lunges as well. Seeing this, the eunuch king swings his whisk forward, stepping up to shield me, his newfound master. The Wraith Infant shrieks non-stop as it darts toward me, low and fast like a spider skittering across the ground. My expression stays perfectly calm. Watching this little creature deliver itself right to my doorstep just as it's about to reach me, I form a hand seal, invoking the golden light mudra, heaven and earth's mystic ancestor. The next instant, countless beams of golden light burst forth from my body, condensing into an unbreakable barrier of golden light. The infant, seeing the barrier suddenly appear before it, shrieks, unable to stop in time. It slams face first straight into the golden light barrier. The next second, half its face melts away instantly, pouring off thick white smoke, crackling and sizzling. It shrieks over and over in agony. Watching this, I laugh and shake my head. Trying to outrun this humble Taoist? I reach out with a blackened claw-like hand and clamp down on the infant, seizing it in my grip. Staring at its wailing, distorted little face, I bark out a sharp warning. Keep screaming, and I'll pull every single one of your teeth out, one by one. Whoa, that's harsh. The infant instantly goes quiet and docile, held in my grip like a helpless little chick. It's not that it doesn't want to struggle, it's that it doesn't dare to. The instant it so much as flinched, it felt the surge of raw thunder energy coursing through my palm, the message impossible to miss: move an inch and I'll fry you on the spot. If you think you're tougher than the Five Thunders' divine art, go ahead and struggle. The infant immediately goes still, not even daring to make a sound. Watching the infant get subdued so easily, and finding herself unable to break free of the eunuch king's constant interference, the Crimson Queen curses inwardly, useless, worthless creatures, one of them switching sides on the spot, the other taken down in an instant. What garbage teammates. She erupts with her full aura at once, terrifying sovereign-level energy spreading outward in every direction, forming a chilling field of killing intent around her. Seeing this, I raise an eyebrow, mildly impressed. This Crimson Queen has real potential. She's a good deal stronger than the eunuch king and the Wraith Infant. A genuine standout among wraiths. I form a sword mudra with my hand, and speak, "Step back, eunuch king." Hearing this, the eunuch king immediately falls back to the side. Truth be told, he's already exhausted anyway. With a casual sweep of my hand, the Celestial Master's sword answers, sliding free of its sheath. I trace a sword awakening talisman in the empty air, channeling its power directly into the sacred blade. The sword sweeps in a wide arc through the ghost domain, slicing through the darkness like a streak of light. Wherever its path leads, countless wraiths are reduced to ash instantly. Every remaining wraith in the domain is wiped out by the flying blade. Finally, the sword's tip turns to point at the Crimson Queen. I'll give you one final chance. Either submit to me or die. Feeling the icy razor-sharp energy radiating off the blade, the Crimson Queen breaks into a cold sweat instantly. Any thought of resistance has already vanished. This swordsmanship is beyond terrifying. If he'd shown this from the start, she would have surrendered long before now. The Crimson Queen drops to her knees instantly. I am willing to serve you as my master. Hearing this, I glance down at the Wraith Infant still clutched in my hand. I recall the flying sword and let it hover behind it, its tip aimed straight at the infant's head. Fine, I give in too. Master, I was wrong. I'll obey from now on, I swear. With that, all three ghost sovereigns have fully submitted. The system chime rings to announce the quest's completion. Once the rewards are distributed, I draw out Wind and Rain Mastery and Yin Yang Reversal, two powerful abilities, and after carefully absorbing their essence, I fully mastered these two techniques from the 36 Yin transformations. Combined with the Bean Soldier spell and the 7 Nailhead swords I gained earlier, I now possess a full 4 techniques from the 36 Yin transformations. I've also gathered 6 shards of the Myriad Souls banner, and received a soul shackling chain besides. I turn the item over in my hand, admiring it. A black iron chain etched with the underworld's own blood-red soul-binding incantation. I can't seem to put it down. If memory serves, this is a tool exclusive to the underworld itself. Even ordinary ghost catchers rarely get their hands on one. This is undoubtedly a treasure. Any demon or spirit bound by the soul-shackling chain finds it nearly impossible to break free. In certain respects, it even surpasses the talismans of Dragon Tiger Mountain. Once I've claimed every reward, I sweep my gaze over the 3 ghost sovereigns before me. The 3 of you. Hand over your ghost cores. All 3 flinch, fear plain on their faces. But with their strength no match for mine, they have no choice but to surrender their cores obediently. After all, holding their cores is the only way to fully control every ounce of their power. I have no intention of extending trust to ghosts and demons. Holding their weakness in my hand is the only thing that lets me rest easy. A moment later, the eunuch king drags over a few influencers from the earlier group who hadn't yet been eaten. Master, what should we do with these living ones? Please help yourself. I glance at the trembling group in front of me, thoroughly unimpressed. How did these people even end up wandering into a ghost domain? Right now, the young influencers are already scared out of their wits. They came out to film a video and stumbled straight into a ghost domain instead. About the worst luck a person could possibly have. Just moments ago, chaos had erupted across the domain, and they'd thought they might use it to escape with their lives. But the next second, the eunuch king pinned them to the ground, and looking up only made things worse. There's an actual Jiangshi here too? First they ran into wraiths, now a Jiangshi. Their luck couldn't possibly get any worse. They're certain at this point that death is inevitable. But the very next moment I simply wave my withered arm and tell them to leave, quickly. I turn my attention away from them and begin searching for the primordial yin essence the system mentioned. After all, a ghost domain capable of birthing 3 ghost sovereigns is no ordinary den of yin energy. I turn and ask the 3 sovereigns, where in this domain is the primordial yin essence? Master, we truly have no idea. Everything we've cultivated up to now has come purely from absorbing the yin energy of heaven and earth. We've never once laid eyes on the primordial essence. I shake my head. It makes sense they wouldn't know. If they'd known about it already, one of them surely would have swallowed it long ago. Primordial yin essence offers immense benefit to demons and ghosts alike. With that thought, I draw out the seal of authority from my robes, inscribing a talisman and channeling its power directly into it. I use the seal to sweep through the entire ghost domain, searching for any trace of the primordial essence. The seal of authority can suppress every demon and ghost under heaven, and it can just as easily be used to locate hidden treasures. As I move over the surface of the reservoir, the seal suddenly blazes with brilliant light, confirming that the primordial essence lies at the bottom of the lake. I form a seal mudra with my hand, pressing it forward with force. The seal of authority instantly releases a beam of golden light that plunges straight down into the lake's depths. The reservoir's water erupts into a violent roiling boil. Only now do I realize with some surprise that a reservoir this large doesn't hold a single living fish. Bathed in the glow of the seal's light, a jagged, purplish-black crystal rises to the water's surface, slowly taking form. It radiates an aura of pure, bone-deep cold and yin. This is the primordial yin essence. I stand at the water's edge, hands clasped behind my back, watching the crystal take shape upon the surface. It seems the essence hadn't fully formed until now. It had been lying dormant within the reservoir's waters as a diffuse form of raw energy. No wonder the 3 sovereigns never sensed it or absorbed it. Channeling the seal's power, I draw the scattered essence energy out from the water, condensing it into solid form. This treasure, it seems, was simply meant to be mine all along. At that very moment, a colossal beast lurking in the deepest reaches of the reservoir senses the surge of the essence's energy, and slowly opens its long dormant eyes. This creature has survived, for ages, by devouring the scattered traces of primordial essence dissolved in the water, growing and cultivating from it over time. With the energy so diffuse before now, it could only absorb it slowly, bit by bit. But now, sensing the energy suddenly condensed all in one place, it surges up violently from the muddy lakebed, its massive body tearing through the water's surface, rocketing straight upward. My gaze stays locked on the surface, the fist-sized black crystal now fully condensed and complete, radiating an aura of absolute bone-piercing cold. Just as I reach out to claim it, water suddenly erupts in every direction. From deep within the reservoir, a massive beast bursts through the surface, jaws thrown wide, lunging straight for the primordial essence. The creature is thick and powerfully built, its whole body a shimmering gold, massive in size, with long whiskers trailing from its face, a pair of horns crowning its head, its appearance eerily close to that of a true dragon. At the sudden appearance of this beast, my brow furrows, my expression turning cold in an instant. A creature that clearly doesn't know it's begging for death. You dare lay a hand on something that belongs to this humble Taoist? A moment later, I trace 2 quick motions through the empty air with my fingers, and a purple talisman takes shape before me, the swift tribulation thunder technique. This technique summons heavenly lightning instantly, striking any target it's aimed at without delay. I bring my palm down sharply, and a furious bolt of lightning crashes down from the clouds, a thick pillar of purple lightning slamming down hard onto the dragon-like beast's head. The tribulation lightning detonates, sending a spray of bright red blood in every direction. The massive creature lets out a series of agonized roars. Even so, it still manages to whip its tail forward and swallow the primordial essence whole. Seeing this, killing intent surges through me instantly. I chant an incantation aimed at the seal of authority. The seal transforms at once into a beam of golden light, shooting toward the water beast, and slams into its head with enough force to crack it open. The creature crashes heavily back into the water. It twists around in an instant and vanishes without a trace. My expression turns savage, fury peaking in an instant. Sensing their master's rage, the three sovereigns tremble uncontrollably in fear. I turn on them at once, demanding an answer. You've been cultivating here for so long. A loach this massive hiding at the bottom of this reservoir, and none of you had any idea? The three sovereigns scramble to explain themselves. That thing is a loach spirit. It hides every single day, buried deep in the mud at the bottom. It's nearly impossible to spot. I open my golden eyes and gaze down into the water. So the massive creature that just tried to steal my prize is a 1,000-year-old loach, one that is already fully transformed into a dragon and attained the Tao. I decide then to bring this ancient loach to heel. If I don't show it some real strength, it clearly has no idea just how tough I really am. At that very moment, the system chime rings in my ears. New quest issued. Primordial essence energy detected. Deploy the 8-gate heavenly array to trap the 1,000-year demon and claim your reward. Reward, the 36 yin transformations, the tide-turning technique, and the sleeve cosmos method. Without hesitation, I immediately activate the 8-gate heavenly array. The next moment I step forward with 1 foot, thick corpse aura billowing off my entire body, spreading out like dense black smoke settling directly over the reservoir. I extend a withered finger, drawing talismans through the empty air. One black talisman after another manifests, and then countless black talismans shoot into the water like arrows, each landing at its corresponding position along the 8 trigrams. The next instant, 8 beams of black light erupt from the depths of the reservoir, shooting straight up toward the heavens. The 8-gate heavenly array activates successfully. The system chimes. Congratulations, player. Quest complete. The 8-gate heavenly array has been successfully deployed, trapping the 1,000-year demon. Reward granted. The 36 yin transformations, the tide-turning technique, and the sleeve cosmos method. Meanwhile, on Dragon Tiger Mountain's official internal website, a new notice has just been posted. Dragon Tiger Mountain issues an urgent call for aid to all Taoist orders. The tomb of our third ancestor has been robbed. The ancestor himself has since reanimated. He has since fled and remains at large, posing a grave threat to the mortal world. Any disciple who sights the ancestor is asked to contact Dragon Tiger Mountain immediately, so that all major Taoist orders may join forces to contain him. The moment this notice goes out, it sends shockwaves through the entire Taoist world. Meanwhile, 1 kilometer from the southern reservoir, as the light from my 8-gate heavenly array shoots skyward, a monk in a yellow robe, carrying a string of 18 prayer beads, comes to a sudden stop. He looks up toward the sky above the reservoir. At that exact moment, an SUV comes racing out from the direction of the reservoir. The monk spots it at once, the faint traces of corpse aura and ghost energy clinging to the vehicle. Clearly, whoever's inside crossed paths with the Jiangshi and wraiths near the reservoir. He raises a hand, stepping into the road to stop the car. The influencer behind the wheel sees a figure suddenly appear in the road ahead, standing directly in the vehicle's path. Panic seizes her instantly. The driver freezes for a split second, forgetting even to hit the brakes. By the time she snaps back to her senses, the car is already barreling straight toward the yellow-robed monk. But what none of them expect is that the monk doesn't so much as flinch. Standing perfectly still, he presses his palms together, then plants a single palm flat against the car's hood, bringing the speeding vehicle to a dead stop through sheer force. Everyone inside the car is left completely stunned. The monk strolls over to the window, a pleasant smile on his face. Fellow travelers, this humble monk offers his greetings. May I ask, did you just come from the direction of the reservoir? The moment the words register, everyone in the car reacts as though they found a lifeline. The group of influencers immediately spills every detail of everything that happened at the reservoir. After hearing their full account, the monk nods slowly. My thanks for the information, friends. This humble monk will take his leave now. Watching him turn to head straight for the reservoir, the influencers panic instantly. Don't go! They shout desperately. Master, it's far too dangerous over there. Several of our people already died there. But the very next moment, the monk presses his palms together once more. Amitabha. My thanks for the warning, friends. However, this humble monk has a fair bit of confidence in his own abilities. The Buddhist Dharma knows no bounds. Sending a few wraiths and a Jiangshi to their rest shouldn't pose much of a problem. There's no need to worry for this humble monk. His tone stays calm and unbothered, radiating quiet confidence. It's just a lesser spirit and a Jiangshi after all. With that, he taps 1 foot lightly on the ground, and the next second, he's teleported 10 meters away. Within just a few strides, he vanishes entirely from the influencer's sight. At this moment, the yellow-robed monk is racing swiftly toward the reservoir, and within just a few minutes reaches its outer edge. Brother Milo looks out at the reservoir ahead of him, the Buddha light glowing from the prayer beads in his hand now twice as radiant as before. He also spots, hanging over the outer edge, that familiar layer of black mist. Since I've already consumed roughly 90% of its power, with too few wraiths left to sustain it, the massive ghost domain's mist has largely dissipated by now. Brother Milo pulls out his wooden fish, the ritual instrument he always carries, and begins striking it rhythmically as he steps into the ghost domain. He keeps striking the wooden fish without pause, and with each resonant knock, the remaining ghostly creatures around him scatter and flee. Using the sound to clear his way, he carves a path forward. Meanwhile, inside the domain, having just completed the 8-gate heavenly array, I immediately claim the system's reward, the 36 yin transformations, the tide-turning technique, and the sleeve cosmos method. Looking over the tide-turning technique the system just granted me, it just so happens I can put it to good use right now. I absorb all of the rewards at once, then extend a single palm outward, as if gripping the very fabric of space itself. I plunge my hand straight down into the reservoir. As my palm turns steadily beneath the surface, a massive whirlpool forms in the water, growing larger and larger, gradually taking the shape of a churning waterspout. Sprays of water are hurled dozens of meters into the air. Behind me, the three ghost sovereigns watch as I overturn heaven and earth with a mere raise of my hand. Seas roiling, rivers reversing at my command. The reservoir's once calm surface erupts suddenly into more than a dozen churning waterspouts. Towering columns of water shoot skyward, as though the entire reservoir is about to be flipped completely inside out. The three sovereigns are utterly stunned by what they're witnessing. Power on this scale, it's not just beyond ghost sovereigns like themselves, even a ghost emperor showing up in person would have to bow his head and submit. To think that loach dared to steal from our master. It's like a fool begging for death. I keep my gaze locked on the water's surface, seeing straight through the water and the mud beneath it, searching for the loach that dared to try robbing me. You'd better hope I don't catch you, little thing, because if I do, you're in for a world of hurt. Meanwhile, outside the domain's core, Brother Milo continues striking his wooden fish, slowly making his way through the black, ghost-ridden path, heading deeper into the domain, ready to subdue whatever demons await him. As he walks, he begins to hear a thunderous, churning roar of water, as though the sea itself were being overturned. Brother Milo's brow furrows tightly. What is that sound? How could there possibly be a torrent that loud? He steps forward deeper into the domain, calling out loudly, Amitabha! This humble monk is Brother Milo of Dharma Heart Temple. Every wraith here had best surrender at once. His powerful chant instantly disperses every trace of ghost energy before him. Wrapped in the glow of Buddha light, as he walks through the ghost domain, he looks every bit like a living Buddha descended into the mortal world. At that moment, I'm still simmering with frustration, with nowhere to vent it, and that's exactly when a bald-headed monk comes strolling in. I let out a breath of thick, black mist, still frustrated over failing to catch that loach. Seeing Brother Milo walk right into my hands, a bold idea suddenly occurs to me. Isn't this exactly the bait I need delivered right to my door? Taking in the scene before him, Brother Milo is so terrified his toes practically curl inside his sandals, especially when he spots the flying Jiangshi, churning the entire reservoir like a raging sea. His heart pounds with fresh terror. This creature actually has the power to overturn seas? For a moment, he doesn't dare make a sound. Just as he opens his mouth to say something, his phone suddenly starts ringing in his pocket. The call is from the discipline master of Dharma Heart Temple, in other words, his own master. Watching the Jiangshi in front of him, who for now shows no sign of attacking, Brother Milo answers the call with a pained expression. Abbot Thaddeus's voice comes through the line. Something's happened over on the Taoist side. Dragon Tiger Mountain's third ancestor's tomb has been robbed, and their third ancestor has since reanimated. You're out traveling the mortal world right now, subduing demons and spirits. Be extra careful out there these days. Hearing this, Brother Milo could practically cry. He speaks into the phone. Master, I think I've already run into him. I have to go. The next second, a menacing grin spreads across my face, and I give the order to the three sovereigns, seize him. Don't let my little fish get away. With that, the three sovereigns lunge forward like unleashed hounds. Brother Milo strikes out with a defensive palm, then spins around and uses the Buddhist earth-shrinking step, trying desperately to flee. Seeing this, I take a single step forward and vanish from where I stood in an instant. With one step, I reappear directly in front of him. Well, the little rabbit came right to me. Still trying to run? Brother Milo never imagined that this Jiangshi's speed could possibly outmatch his own. Is this the true strength of Dragon Tiger Mountain's third ancestor? It's absolutely terrifying. The next instant, he whips out his prayer beads with a backhand strike, chanting the 6-syllable mantra, which bursts forth with Buddha-like power unlike anything he's ever unleashed before, lashing straight toward me. I take the blow head-on with nothing but my own body, and the prayer beads snap apart on impact. I raise one hand, and a binding talisman condenses instantly, slapping straight onto Brother Milo's forehead. The next moment, I carry my catch back to the edge of the reservoir. An instant later, I put an end to the sea-churning turmoil, and the scene settles back into stillness. I then suppress every trace of my own presence, and toss Brother Milo straight into the water. Now, all that's left is to wait patiently, for the loach to lower its guard and come out of hiding. The moment it dares to surface, it's as good as dead. Several hours pass quickly. The southern reservoir remains completely silent, no sign of movement. Meanwhile, at the Southern District Police Station, Abbot Thaddeus of Dharma Heart Temple, along with Master Thorn of Dragon Tiger Mountain, both arrive with their respective retinues. The moment the two groups meet, Abbot Thaddeus, head of Dharma Heart Temple's Discipline Hall, wears a sour expression from the start. Amitabha, Dragon Tiger Mountain really does have quite the reputation. As the founding seat of Taoism itself, you can't even keep your own ancestor under control. Your ancestor turns into a monster and starts hurting people. Now that's a story for the ages. Master Thorn was already in a foul mood to begin with, and hearing Abbot Thaddeus's remark only sours it further. Abbot Thaddeus, you'd best watch that mouth of yours, or this humble Taoist can't promise your safety. With that, arcs of lightning begin crackling and sparking across his palm. The message couldn't be clearer: keep running your mouth, and I'll shove a palmful of lightning right down your throat. Seeing the lightning crackling in Master Thorn's hand, Abbot Thaddeus draws in a sharp breath, lets out a scornful snort, and turns to walk away. Before leaving, he throws one last warning. You'd better remember this. If anything happens to my disciple, not a single person on Dragon Tiger Mountain will escape my wrath. This humble monk will absolutely not let it go. The police soon mobilized their own forces as well, joining together with Master Thorn of Dragon Tiger Mountain and Abbot Thaddeus of Dharma Heart Temple, and together they head toward the southern reservoir. Meanwhile, back at the reservoir, dawn begins to break slowly across the sky. The thick fog around the area starts to gradually thin out. I sit at the edge of the reservoir, eyes closed, resting quietly. Still, nothing stirs beneath the water. Inside, I murmur to myself, clever little thing, let's see how long you can hold out. At that very moment, just outside the reservoir, the police, Dragon Tiger Mountain's Taoist Coalition, and Dharma Heart Temple's forces come to a stop several hundred meters from the water's edge. The three groups then move forward together toward the southern reservoir. Meanwhile, beside me, the eunuch king senses a group of humans approaching from a distance, and speaks up at once. Master, more people are coming this way. I open my eyes and glance once more at the water, then give the order, go hold them off. Don't let those fools get anywhere near here. The three sovereigns move out at once to intercept them. Meanwhile, 500 meters from the reservoir, the three groups continue advancing toward my location. But before they even get close to the water, Master Thorn and the Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoists already feel a thick wave of ghost energy wash over them. Master Thorn calls out a warning. Everyone stay alert. A ghost sovereign is approaching. The words have barely left his mouth when a black chain of ghostly energy suddenly bursts up from the ground beneath them. The chain wraps tightly around Master Thorn's legs. Right after, the Crimson Queen emerges from beneath the earth, one claw striking straight for his chest. The Taoist beside him shouts a warning at once, watching the sovereign strike first without hesitation. Master Thorn's legs surge with sudden force, shattering the underground chain almost instantly. The next moment, he swings a palm straight at the Crimson Queen before him. The blow sends her flying several meters back. The next second, she lets out a cold laugh. You truly are worthy of the purple-robed celestial master title. Your thunder art lives up to its reputation, it seems. But I'd advise you, it's best not to come any closer right now. My master is handling important business inside, and if you disturb him, it won't end well for Dragon Tiger Mountain, or for the rest of us serving him. The moment she finishes speaking, the Wraith Infant and the Eunuch King slowly materialize into view. The three sovereigns block the path forward, radiating an overwhelming, suffocating pressure. At that moment, Abbot Thaddeus surges forward, demanding sharply, "My beloved disciple came through here last night. Where is my disciple? Hand him over, now." The Crimson Queen lets out a mocking laugh. "You can't fish without bait, and even with bait you won't catch much. That little bald donkey of yours has already been used by my master as bait to lure the fish." Hearing this, Abbot Thaddeus can no longer hold back his fury. The next instant, a massive Buddha avatar materializes behind him, slamming a colossal palm down toward the Crimson Queen. Seeing the strike coming, she flickers out of the way in an instant, dodging it entirely. She grumbles impatiently, "I already told you. Quit making a scene. Are you trying to get yourself killed with all this noise?" But Abbot Thaddeus refuses to listen to reason. His eyes have gone bloodshot with rage, fury having stripped away every last shred of his composure. He bellows loudly, "Amitabha, where are my disciples? A demon runs rampant here today, one who has harmed our own Buddhist disciples. Convene the ritual altar at once, chant the Diamond Sutra to empower me, and follow me to purge this demon and its ghosts." At Abbot Thaddeus's command, over a dozen young monks behind him immediately draw out their ritual instruments, each of them radiating brilliant Buddha light. Empowered by the combined strength of over a dozen monks, Abbot Thaddeus's own power surges dozens of times over in an instant. Golden light now envelops his entire body, making him look every bit like a true Buddha descended upon the mortal world. He raises a pair of golden, ritual cymbals, which clash together with a deep, resounding boom. The massive sound wave, carrying the full power of the Diamond Sutra, slams directly into all three sovereigns. The force sends every one of them stumbling backward. At that same moment, I hear the massive commotion outside, and slowly rise from the rock I'd been resting on. This bald fool is really tired of living, isn't he? I told you not to disturb me while I'm fishing, and here you are throwing a concert instead? With that, I take a single step forward, rising to stand directly on empty air, facing Abbot Thaddeus head-on. I curl a finger toward him, beckoning. The moment Abbot Thaddeus spots me, his voice turns grave. "If you are a cultivator of the Tao in life, you ought to understand this well. Becoming a Jiangshi after death only brings ruin to yourself and others alike. Your understanding is sorely lacking. To willingly fall into the demonic path like this, Do you not fear that every Taoist under heaven will look upon you in shame? Abbot Thaddeus rambles on, and hearing his lecture, Cassian and the rest of the Dragon Tiger Mountain disciples behind him, along with every other Taoist present, break into a cold sweat across their foreheads, drenched instantly from head to toe. Every one of them is thinking the same thing. This is bad. This is very bad. This old fool genuinely has a death wish. How does he dare say things like that? Does he actually think this is some Buddhist debate hall? Talking back to a founding ancestor like that, all that sutra chanting must have fried his brain. Meanwhile, Cassian and every Dragon Tiger Mountain Taoist present stay completely silent, quietly taking several steps backward. Listening to Abbot Thaddeus's little lecture, I can't help but burst out laughing. The weathered, coin-worn skin of my face shakes with an eerie rattling sound. And just what exactly are you? Since when does it fall to you to lecture me? Before the words even finish, my body erupts with the power of the Five Thunders' divine art, the once purple lightning now turning as black as spilled ink. This is the Shadow Five Thunders art, its corrupted blackened form. Watching this unfold, Abbot Thaddeus lets out a scornful snort. An old celestial master, dead 2,000 years. Let's see just how much cultivation you have left. Don't think for a second that I fear you. Who comes out on top today remains to be seen. With that, he slams his hands together forcefully, unleashing an ear-splitting wave of Buddhist sound energy. At that same instant, I feel the sound wave surging toward me, and let out a furious roar straight back at Abbot Thaddeus. A terrifying, thunderous shriek bursts forth from my mouth, instantly shattering his sound wave attack, and sending Abbot Thaddeus himself, along with the entire crowd of young monks behind him clashing their cymbals, crashing to the ground in a heap. A moment later, I teleport directly in front of Abbot Thaddeus, a faint, humorless smile on my face. So you really like clashing cymbals, huh? This humble Taoist happens to enjoy it too. With that, I swing out a massive backhanded slap, landing it hard across Abbot Thaddeus's bald head. After a loud resounding crack, a black, palm-shaped mark appears instantly on top of his skull, the imprint of the slap burned right into his flesh. The single blow scatters every trace of Buddha light surrounding him. The three sovereigns then drag him off like a limp dog, hauling the now boneless Abbot Thaddeus away. Meanwhile, the young monks, seeing their master's aura extinguished, immediately turn and scatter, trying to flee. Watching them scramble in every direction, I raise a hand and give it a light sweep. A bolt of black lightning strikes down across their escape route, carving a deep, scorched trench straight through the ground. I call out a warning. You'd all better stay right where you are, or else my next strike lands on you instead. The moment I say this, it stuns the entire group of cymbal-clashing young monks into stillness. They freeze in place, not daring to move an inch. The three sovereigns move in at once, tying up the whole group of monks and tossing every one of them into the reservoir. More bait for my fishing efforts. I watch a whole crowd of bald heads on the water's surface, thrashing as they sink beneath it, and shake my head lightly. If your power doesn't measure up, don't go around acting tough. Bit of a shock now, isn't it? Nearby, Cassian and the police officers, witnessing all of this unfold, exchange a glance with one another, keeping their expressions carefully composed on the surface while inside, they're already falling apart. They watch the abbot's downfall the way one might watch a clown perform. Cassian steps forward, speaking with heartfelt sincerity. Old ancestor, please stop this and come back with us. Don't compound one mistake with another. I don't even bother sparing him a glance. Get lost. Don't push this old ancestor's patience, or you'll end up just like that bald fool I just slapped, on the receiving end of the same treatment. Hearing this, Cassian lets out a resolute shout. Old ancestor, then this unworthy descendant won't hold back. Forgive my disrespect. With that command, everyone falls into formation, deploying the great golden light sun array. Old ancestor, we're bringing you home. Last time, facing the third ancestor, Cassian lacked experience and used the 7-star Dipper sword array, a technique the ancestor himself created, against him. The result, I shattered the entire array in an instant. So this time, Cassian has prepared a completely different formation. Barring any surprises, subduing this reanimated old ancestor should go smoothly. Once the array is fully formed, every disciple holds a great golden light talisman in hand. Every talisman's power converges into a single sun talisman, which hovers above the entire group. It's high noon now. The sun's power at its absolute peak. Cassian stands at the array's center, wielding sword intent, commanding the sun talisman above him. Old ancestor, do you recognize this array? I shake my head lightly. The great golden light sun array. It seems you've put quite a bit of thought into finding a way to deal with this old ancestor. But powerful as this formation is, it's utterly useless against me. Cassian murmurs an incantation, and torrents of blazing fire erupt from the fire talismans in his grip. This terrifying inferno swirls around Cassian, condensing into a serpentine dragon made entirely of flame. As Cassian channels more power into the fire talisman, the fire dragon surges forward, charging straight at me. Watching this display, I trace a few casual strokes through the empty air with my finger, and a celestial master's sweeping talisman takes shape at once. I release the talisman's power, and it transforms instantly into a raging gale, which collides head-on with the fire dragon. The sweeping talisman then drags the entire fire dragon straight down into the water. The moment the fire dragon hits the water, it dissolves instantly into a billowing cloud of scalding steam. Seeing this, Cassian immediately unleashes another divine fire incantation, this time summoning far more of them at once, each one carrying even greater power. With the sun blazing directly overhead at high noon, Cassian can unleash divine fire without restraint. He speaks, "Old ancestor, surrender now." It's high noon, and this descendant holds every advantage, timing, terrain, and numbers. Trapped within the great golden light sun array, even with power as vast as the heavens themselves, you won't be escaping this. The moment Cassian finishes speaking, the smile vanishes from my face instantly. I form a Taoist hand seal and stomp down hard against the ground. A surge of power shoots straight toward the sky. Above my head, the supreme power of Taoist black talisman energy and purple chi swirl wildly. A thunderous roar echoes across the heavens. Massive clouds of darkness materialize out of nowhere, churning and rolling across the sky. Almost in the blink of an eye, the sky that was blazing with sunlight just a moment ago plunges into total darkness the very next instant. Yang recedes, yin surges forth. Yin and yang reverse in an instant. The divine fire incantation Cassian had cast disintegrates into nothing at once. With the sun's power stripped away, his fire talismans lose all their potency instantly. Cassian, staring up at the sun above him now turned pitch black, goes ashen white in an instant. I turn my gaze to him. "Cassian, do you still believe you hold every advantage now?" Cassian's eyes stay steady and resolute. "Your yin-yang reversal is truly formidable, old ancestor. But this descendant is determined to bring you home today, no matter what. Even without the sky's blessing on my side, I will not let you go." Cassian forms a hand seal at once, channeling every last drop of power left in the sun talisman. Countless chains of crystalline fire shoot out from the talisman, weaving together into a massive net that closes in from every direction, descending over me from all sides. The eightfold heaven net of divine fire. Cassian channels the technique, and the net of fire-forged chains crashes down toward me in an instant. It's at this exact moment that my spiritual senses catch a sudden stir. The thousand-year loach, buried beneath a muddy lake bed, finally begins to move. Its massive form bursts up from the bottom of the reservoir, moving with terrifying speed, jaws thrown wide, lunging straight for Abbot Thaddeus and Brother Milo, teeth snapping down toward them with vicious force. Abbot Thaddeus, Brother Milo, and the rest of the bald-headed monks watch in horror as the thousand-year loach erupts from beneath the water, their pupils shrinking with terror. Though they'd heard earlier that the third ancestor of Dragon Tiger Mountain, since his reanimation, had been using people as bait here, none of them expected whatever lurked beneath the water to be quite this massive. At that same moment, I watched the fiery net closing in on me, reach back to draw the Celestial Master's sword from my back, and unleash two razor-sharp blades of sword energy. With just those two strikes alone, the fire-forged chains are shredded to pieces instantly. The next moment, I give Cassian no chance to react. I swing a backhand strike toward him, the five thunders churning violently, and slam it straight into him. Cassian is sent crashing out of midair by the force of the thunderous palm strike. I take a single step forward, teleporting directly above the reservoir. I look down at the thousand-year loach, already surfacing beneath the water, and extend my palm, plunging it straight down into the water. Across all five of my fingers, the power of the five thunders surges wildly, coalescing into a massive hand forged entirely of black lightning. The lightning hand plunges swiftly beneath the surface, closing in on the old loach with brutal force. The moment the loach spots the massive lightning hand above it, it panics and turns to flee at once, desperate to burrow back down into the muddy lake bed. I watch the old loach, and let out a cold laugh. "If you manage to escape me this time, I'll strip off this purple robe and dragon robe, and hand them straight to you." With that, I close my grip around the massive loach's body, and hurl it upward with tremendous force. The lightning hand roars with a deafening peal of thunder, shattering the water's surface outright and hurling the thousand-year loach clean out of the reservoir. Its enormous body crashes down, crushing countless boulders and grave markers along the shore. The sight leaves everyone present utterly stunned. A moment later, a police captain turns to Cassian, asking, "Master Cassian, just what exactly is that thing?" Cassian shakes his head. "It's most likely a loach spirit, but judging by its aura and appearance, it isn't far from fully transforming into a dragon." Meanwhile, I stand suspended in the empty air, black heavenly lightning coiling around my hand, fixing my gaze on the loach I've just captured. "You have two choices right now. Either you cough up what you swallowed yourself, or I beat you to death and take it out myself." The old loach lets out a furious roar, and spews a burst of green flame from its mouth, fire laced with 1,000 years' worth of deadly venom. Seeing it refuse to listen to reason, I stop holding back. I drive a punch forward, the black power of the five thunders seeming ready to tear it apart entirely. The thunder-charged fist slams straight into the massive loach's body, sending it hurtling backward with tremendous force, its scales scorched black from the impact. Still defiant, it lets out a furious roar at me, jaws snapping open wide as it lunges to bite. I let out a faint smile, and charge straight toward the ancient beast's gaping mouth. An instant later, a deafening shriek of agony tears through the air.